Hi, everyone, and thank you for watching this brief video for the written assignment that was due. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now, first things first, take a look at the grading rubric. It'll tell you exactly what area that points were taken off, if any points were taken off. For instance, a lot of students sometimes forget to put their name and date at the top of the document at the beginning of the semester. And so if you're missing a few points, you'll see an area on the grading rubric that will show you where those points are. There were 4 questions. I'm going to go ahead and say that most of you did very well in questions 1 through 3. I've been teaching this class for a while, and so typically students do very well in the first 3, mainly because there's enough information there for you to reach the 100-word minimum. So each question you had to at least write 100 words, which is a full paragraph. And typically those questions have no problem reaching that threshold only because you have to discuss 3 different things. And then you have to discuss why they're important and elaborate on why you think they're important. And trust me, that 100 words is very easy to get in those first 3 questions. But question 4 seems to stump students. So I want to talk about that one in depth because it's important that you understand exemption and how to qualify an employee accurately. Well, first things first, there are different laws that say you can't just arbitrarily pay people salary just because you want to. So FLSA, the Fair Labor Standards Act, basically says, hey, every position needs to be paid an hourly wage and you have to pay them overtime unless they qualify for an exemption. Right. So the rule of thumb in HR is always pay people an hourly wage and always pay them overtime, and you'll never get in trouble. But what happens is, especially in smaller businesses who might not know this law, these laws too well, is that it's easier to pay someone a salary instead of an hourly wage because then you don't have to keep track of their hours. You can just think, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pay you $50,000, call it good, and that way we don't have to keep track of it. You don't have to keep track of it. It's just easier on everyone. Unfortunately, the law says you can't do that. And that's where a lot of companies get in trouble, and you'll see lawsuits. I see them all the time for smaller companies. You'll see, XYZ company was sued for back pay and overtime. And anytime I see the back pay and overtime, I know exactly what happened there. They were paying someone a salary and they shouldn't have. And then that person found out that they shouldn't have been paid a salary, and then they sued. And there are a lot of different fines involved. And so if you want to go ahead and avoid a lawsuit, it's really simple. Just pay people an hourly wage, pay them overtime, and you should never have a problem. However, we do know that there are some positions that will qualify for a salary or an exemption. And so that's where number 4 comes in. And I hope you kind of talked about that a little bit in your question or your answer, I should say. You talked a little bit about what are the benefits of paying someone exempt or making them salary. What are those benefits? Also, too, not everyone gets to be on salary. Just because someone slaps the manager title on you doesn't mean that you get to be paid a salary. It really comes down to the job duty and the job description. And so that's why we'll talk a little bit about job duty, job analysis a little bit later in this class. But it comes down to, on the safe side, pay everyone an hourly wage and you'll never be in trouble. But there are exceptions. So some of those exceptions include working professionals, executives, salespeople. I think there's technology or computer related positions as well. You can go ahead and take a look at those different positions on the FLSA fact sheet. And if you talked about that in your answer, then you should receive full credit for that. If you did not, which I know a lot of students kind of struggle with this, and you received only maybe partial credit or half credit for number 4, that is why. You didn't give me enough explanation there. Why is this important for you to know? Well, number 1, we know it's important because there's lawsuits and fines and penalties, but there's also a mini project due this weekend, specifically that targets FLSA and the exempt or non-exempt status. If you have any questions about this, please read that fact sheet. It's going to help you so much. In addition, we did have an optional class earlier in the week. It was an optional virtual class. I did have just 1 student show up. That's okay, because I know most of you have very busy schedules. So please refer to that class recording. That's going to help you out tremendously for this mini project. All right. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks so much.